I'm Steve Baker. Since 1990, I have chaired the Leadership Troy Meet the Candidate Night forums. The last 2 years with COVID-19 has certainly been a challenge. With races in the November 2nd election, we have Miami County Municipal Court Judge and also the Troy Board of Education. Candidates will have 2 minutes for their opening statements, 1 minute to answer each question, and 1 minute for their closing statement. Each candidate for each race will receive the same question that was submitted by the local media. The candidates were not provided those questions in advance. We will begin the candidates for judge in alphabetical order with Jessica Lopez.
Thank you, Steve. My name is Jessica Lopez, and I'm asking for your vote for Miami County Municipal Court Judge on November 2nd. As a licensed attorney in the state of Ohio since 2006, I've represented clients in criminal matters, both misdemeanors and felonies. I've also been an advocate for clients in civil law matters. I have handled the types of cases that come before the Miami County Municipal Court. I've been an elected official in Miami County since 2013. I've used, interpreted, and enforced the law each and every day to ensure that the Miami County Recorder's Office is compliant with both the letter and the spirit of the Ohio Revised Code. I've also worked on behalf of the Ohio Recorders Association with Ohio legislators to draft legislation that will positively impact local county government as well as those people living in Miami County. In addition to knowing the law, I believe that judges should implement policies and procedures that allow for the efficient administration of justice. As a current county elected official, I have streamlined operations and made electronic services available to attorneys and to the public. One digitization project alone saved county taxpayers over $700,000. I'm also passionate about implementing a veterans court here in Miami County. Through the use of these specialized dockets, our courts have the opportunity to use existing local, state, and federal resources to address many of the issues that lead our veterans to be involved in the criminal justice system. These dockets still hold veterans accountable under the law, while allowing and affording the opportunity to receive treatment. I'm Jessica Lopez, and I hope to bring a new voice of fairness, efficiency, and integrity to Miami County Municipal Court.
And next is Gary Nasal. He is also running for judge.
Thank you, Steve, and thank you to the Chamber of Commerce for giving me this opportunity to address the voters of Miami County. I am Gary Nasal. I am the sitting Miami County Municipal Court Judge. I'm in the 9th year of that office. I was born and raised in Miami County and have lived here my entire life. I began my career in public service at the age of 18 when I went to work full-time in the county treasurer's office while going to college full-time at night to pursue my undergraduate degree. Within a couple of years, I had risen to the position of chief deputy treasurer while still pursuing my degree in the evenings. I then moved to the county auditor's office where I was responsible for the agricultural use valuation program that allowed agricultural property to be taxed at its farm value instead of as potential development property. I then was appointed bailiff for Judge Alan Braun, and that was a job that fixed my determination to go on to law school. Upon finishing my undergraduate degree, I began attending the University of Dayton School of Law. I interned in a firm of Shipman, Utrecht, and Dixon, and then joined that firm upon graduation from law school. During that time, I also served as a municipal court prosecutor, assistant municipal court prosecutor, assistant city of Troy law director, and law director for the village of Covington, while maintaining an active and varied private practice. I have been active in the county Republican Party since the time I was 18. I was elected to the Miami County Republican Central Committee at that tender age and served in that capacity for over 30 years before being required to step down, being elected as a judge. I served as county chairman for many local, state, and national candidates, and have been twice invited to the White House.
Race has hit the headlines, has gone to the Ohio Supreme Court when you challenged the candidacy of Jessica Lopez. What are your reasons for that legal challenge?
The reasons for the legal challenge were that I believe that the positions that were held by my opponent did not constitute the practice of law under the definition as determined by the Ohio Supreme Court. Obviously, they disagreed. The position of a judge requires a varied and differentiated background in order to fulfill its functions. I don't believe that my opponent has had that kind of experience. And I think that, as I was saying, I've had multiple positions in the legal field and in the field of government, and I believe that my experience, my background, my qualifications, and my education qualify me to be the judge in the Miami County Municipal Court.
This race has hit the headlines and went to the Ohio Supreme Court when Gary Nasal challenged your candidacy. How would you defend your side of this legal challenge?
Well, Steve, thank you for that question. These challenges have been ongoing and have continued to attack my experience in the time I spent practicing law as a working mother. While I was disappointed in them, I disagreed with them, and the Board of Elections did too. They ruled unanimously that I should remain on the ballot, and the Ohio Supreme Court agreed and kept me on the ballot as well. I think I'm the best candidate for this position, and I look forward to earning the trust of the voters.
Okay. What factors are considered in granting and setting bail bonds on defendants, and what do you believe is the primary consideration?
Well, the factors that are considered are the prior history of the defendant, the family support within the community, whether the defendant has ties to the community and a work history. I think that it's an overall decision. Those factors are set out by the Ohio legislature, and I think it's important for judges to follow the law, follow what the legislature has set forth for judges in the revised code, and it's a fact-based scenario. Each case should be determined independently.
What factors are considered in granting and setting bail amounts for defendants, and what do you believe is the primary consideration?
The factors that are considered are the risk that the person presents to the community, the risk of their failure to appear, and the risk that they may present to themselves. First and foremost, in my mind, is public safety. Secondly, of course, is the likelihood that the individual is going to appear. There is a move on in the Supreme Court and by some in the legislature to prohibit courts from setting setting cash bonds in very many instances, and I believe that puts a tremendous burden upon the local courts and the local law enforcement in forcing the people to answer for their crimes, because it's just too simple for them not to show up without any consequence.
Statement, and you have 1 minute.
Thank you. I'll continue. As I was saying, I was a former chairman of the Miami County Republican Central Committee, and in addition to the government and political activities, I've always been involved in civic service. I was past president of the American Cancer Society, having served 2 terms as its president, member of many Strawberry Festival Committee, and volunteered repeatedly for many Troy Chamber of Commerce projects. I was appointed to the bench by the governor and elected to that position, and I now seek your support in running for an additional term. I have earned an attorney among some defense attorneys as a hard ass, but I'm committed to be fair and impartial in the administration of justice. I look for your support in the November 3rd election, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak to the voters of Miami County.
Well, as I stated, Steve, my opponent's attacks to my candidacy have been attempts to deny the voters of an opportunity to have a choice for the Miami County Municipal Court judge. These meritless attacks to my experience and to my resume as a working mother have been rejected by the Miami County Board of Elections and by the Ohio Supreme Court. I have the experience, qualifications, and leadership skills that will modernize the court and ensure for the efficient administration of justice. I have worked and I will continue to work as a member of my community and as an elected official to make Miami County a great place to live and raise a family. I'm seeking your vote to bring a new voice of fairness integrity, and efficiency to the municipal court. And I humbly ask you to vote for Jessica A. Lopez on November 2nd.
4 individuals are running for 3 seats on the Troy Board of Education. In alphabetical order, we begin with Susan Borchers.
Thank you, and thank you to Leadership Troy for this opportunity to speak to all of you. I'm Sue Borchers, and I'm running for the Troy City School Board of Education. I'm married to my husband, John, and we have 1 daughter, Laura. I bought my first house in Troy in 1990 and moved back to Troy in 2003. Our daughter started kindergarten as a Troy student and graduated from Troy in 2020. My working career has been in information technology, which included working at Precision Strip. I retired in 2017 as the Chief Information Officer of Reliance Steel and Aluminum, which is their parent company. Through my desire to give back to the Troy community, I applied for a position with the board in 2017. I was selected to join the board and was elected to complete the term in 2019. I believe my knowledge in IT and my executive and financial management experience have been an asset to my position on the board. During my time in Troy, I served on the Concord PTO board, the Trojan Soccer Club board, the Troy Strawberry Invitational Committee, and the Troy High School Soccer Parents Association, acting as president for 2 years. After I retired, I volunteered to help elementary students with reading and as a lunch buddy, worked at the Future Begins Today, and served on the Troy Hainer Cultural Center board. During the pandemic, I tutored Troy Online Academy students and volunteered to create virtual field trip videos that our teachers are using today within their curriculum. I'm a member of the 2021 Leadership Troy class, and we are launching a mentoring program for our Troy High School students to provide selected seniors with workshops and mentors to assist in creating career action plans for life after graduation. I hope that I have shown you that I have a keen interest in the success of Troy students. I am willing to dedicate my free time to help make that happen. As a Board of Education member, I strive to provide the best educational environment and financial support for our students, teachers, and staff. I am Susan Borchers and would appreciate your vote in the November election for the Troy School Board of Education. Thank you.
Next will be Levi Fox.
Hi everyone, my name's Levi Fox and I'm running for Troy School Board. My wife Emily and I have 3 boys, Arlo 5, Barrett 3.5, and Crosby 2. I'm a 3rd generation Trojan from the class of 2005. My 2 younger brothers graduated from Troy. I have numerous aunts, uncles, grandparents, and cousins who have all graduated from Troy. I look forward to the time when my boys become 4th generation Troy graduates. While at Troy High School, I set multiple school records in track and cross country, was an All-American in cross country, a state champion in track, and went on to run at The Ohio State University, graduating in 2009. I recently completed my MBA from the University of Cincinnati in 2020. I loved growing up in Troy, and I always knew I wanted to raise my family here. My family loves the small town community feel Troy offers while also providing us with everything we want to do. From 2016 to 2018, I was a member of the Troy Board of Park Commissioners. I enjoyed this opportunity to serve my community, and since completing my MBA last year, I've been looking for another service opportunity. I'm running for the school board because I'm thankful for all Troy City Schools gave me during my years here, and I want to continue to pay it forward. I look forward to being a voice for the people and accurately representing my fellow Trojans. There are some important topics that will come before the board during the term of the candidates who start in January 2022, including COVID policies, which will fight for a parent's right to decide what is best for their child, new building projects that are needed but must be planned for accordingly and shared with the public in ways that benefit the students, faculty, and the community. Critical race theory that is currently being rebranded as diversity, equity, and inclusion training. Thank you.
Now we have Tom Klepps running for the Troy School Board.
Hello. I would first like to thank the Leadership Troy alumni for hosting this event. Meet the Candidate venues provide a great opportunity for voters to learn more about the state, the candidate, and the issues. And I'd also like to acknowledge my opponents in the race this fall and wish them good luck with the election in November. As a parent, business owner, and community volunteer, I'm excited to be running for the Troy Schools Board. My wife, Melissa, and I have been involved in the community for over 30 years and have had children in the school system for 28 years. We've been very pleased with the education our 4 children, Lauren, Nicholas, Maddie, and Nathan, have received, as well as the exposure to the arts, extracurricular activities, and athletics that Troy has to offer. I was appointed to the board in July 2015 and am completing my first full term for a total of 6 years. I bring a financial background to the board, having received my BS and MBA in finance from Indiana University, combined with 35 years experience in the financial arena. Before moving to Troy, I also served 8 years on another school board that together provides me a unique perspective when looking at issues before this board. Should I be reelected in November, I will remain fiscally responsible when dealing with the budget for the district. I will work to see that our curriculum is on point to make sure our graduates are ready to pursue their next step, whether it be the workforce, military, technical school, or college. Lastly, I will continue to work for a solution for our aging schools that the community will support. Thank you for your time and the invitation to appear here today. I look forward to answering your questions.
Our last candidate for the Troy School Board is Teresa Packard.
Thank you, Steve. My name is Teresa Packard. I am running for Troy City School Board. I am a proud Troy resident and mother of 3 current Troy City School students. I believe we have a thriving school district and want to help further our district's mission of helping students succeed by serving as a board member. Over the past 9 years, I have had the opportunity to volunteer within my children's schools and the district, allowing me to meet and work alongside some of our district's finest teachers, administrators, staff members, and families. As your school board representative, I will serve our community by identifying the current and future needs of the district and working with my fellow board members to ensure our students are prepared for their future and that our community benefits from a top school district.
The first question, are you in favor of building new schools or do you support renovating the current buildings? How many times will the board continue to bring this to the voters who say no? Or should the district continue to seek the new buildings until the measure is passed? What's your opinion?
I believe my opinion is fairly well known in the community. I was co-chair of Citizens for Troy City Schools. So I was co-chair of the committee to help pass the most recent levy for new schools. I wholeheartedly believe that we need new facilities. I believe that our facilities are outdated. They do not provide the best environments for our students or our teachers really to do their jobs, for our students to do their learning. I do believe, yes, that we need to find the funding and help gain the community support for those new schools.
Are you in favor of building new schools? Do you support renovating the current buildings? How many times will the board continue to bring it to the voters who in the past have said no? Our school district continues to seek support for new buildings until it will pass. What are your feelings?
Great question. We're sitting here, and I think each time we've had 2 levies on the ballot for schools, and the first one, it was too big. They didn't like the location. Okay, they wanted neighborhood schools. We came back. The next one was 4 schools, spread out throughout the community. So I think we're listening to what the voters say. The last election was at the beginning of the pandemic, and I'm not sure the vote is representative with everything else that was going on. The election was split, all that delayed. So I think if we come the next time, you'll see a smaller levy, maybe just 1 building, maybe a 5th, 6th grade building, depending where we are with state money, so that we can make it affordable. But the bottom line is, each time we've done this, we have listened to the voters and try to come back with a solution that will meet the needs of our students.
Are you in favor of building new schools or do you support renovating the current buildings? How many times will the board continue to bring this to the voters who have already said no? Or should the district continue to seek support for new buildings until the measure is passed?
That's a very important question, Steve. I think ultimately I'd be in favor of building new buildings. I understand how old our buildings are, with a lot of them being, the majority of them being 50 to 100 years old. However, in this new levy that ultimately will likely come before the board at some point in the next 4 years, I think the community needs to be made aware of what's going to happen. I think that's been a huge negative for why the levies have passed in the last few times. Unfortunately, the community just didn't get their questions answered, and that's what I will strive to do when ultimately there will be another levy at some point in the next 4 years, is make sure everyone's aware of what's going on. There's a plan in place that's best for the students, the faculty, and the overall community and taxpayers.
Are you in favor of building new schools or do you support renovating current buildings? How many times will the board continue to bring it to the voters who say no? Or should the district continue to seek support for new buildings until the measure is passed?
I am in support of building new buildings. We have provided several plans for our public. The last plan, we believe, was as a result of the information we got back from our public with wanting local schools. I do believe it's been a couple of years since that has passed, so I do believe it's time to go back to the public and speak to them in our community to verify that's still the right plan. Unfortunately, to revise if we renovate our schools, then we will not get state funding, and right now our state funding is approximately 40%, so I don't think we want to let that pass. So I think we need to re-engage our community and get as much passion from them as we have when we're talking about masks, so that they can help us provide the solution that's agreeable to them at the cost that is also agreeable.
Do you think that the Troy school officials have handled the pandemic properly? And what could they do to improve policies going forward?
Wow. There is no playbook for the pandemic. You can't look at it and say, well, here's what we did before, here's what we're going to do now. We're changing things as we go. We had something, at the beginning of the pandemic, kids were sent home. Last year they had masks on all school year. This year we started the school year without masks, and just last night, approved a mask policy. We're trying to keep kids healthy, safe, and in school to educate them, because we know when we go remote, we will lose 20 to 25% of students. So I think the administration is trying to do the best that we can, given the circumstances, and we'll just have to continue to look and tweak the system to make it the best it can be.
Do you think that the Troy school officials handled the pandemic properly? And what do you say to improve policies going forward?
I absolutely think that the current administration and board members have handled the pandemic response not appropriately. I think it's a travesty that kids were wearing masks the whole year last year. It's very unfortunate what the school board voted on September 13th to give the superintendent one man the power to ultimately decide the policies however he sees fit, and doesn't answer to anyone going forward. Our kids should not be wearing masks if they don't want to. That choice should 100% be up to the parents and no one else. The board should not implement any health measures that are mandatory without choice for the parents. Seeing a smiling face is a benefit that I've had basically my whole life. It makes you smile when someone else smiles at you, and these kids look very forward to seeing a positive role model smile at them at school.
Do you think that the Troy school officials handled the pandemic properly, and what could they do to improve policies going forward?
It was a very difficult time, and I think because it was a constantly moving target, I think we did the best we could with the information that we had, and that information changed daily. So it was challenging to remember what the situation was when we made decisions and what the new situation is. We continually get bombarded with information and changes as the Delta variant comes in. I think we need to continue to assess the science, but also listen to our Troy community and accept the responsibility of our parents to do what they can do. We cannot send kids to school that are sick, but we need to provide a safe environment to support their education. And we need to listen to our teachers. They are in the trenches, and they can help us provide creative and innovative solutions for moving forward with this.
I believe that the administrators have handled the pandemic as best as they could with the information they were provided. However, I did speak at last night's meeting where I opposed the mask mandate that will begin tomorrow. What they could have done better is hopefully given parents more of a choice in how to handle it, and also not the strict quarantine guidelines that are happening as our children are quarantined for a really long time and they're isolated when they are healthy.
Okay, you have 1 minute for a closing statement.
So in closing, I'd like to say I look forward to getting to know as many Trojans as possible over the upcoming months and hopefully years that I'm part of the school board. I'll be a board member, not in a suit and tie, who thinks they're above the citizens they represent, but a board member who's just like everyone else in the community because I'm from this community. My family's from this community. My family will continue to be part of this community. I'll do my best to keep what we all know and love most about Troy City Schools. That being said, I look forward to working with the other board members in a productive way while standing up for what I believe and not being bullied. I encourage everyone to look for and contact me by my Facebook page, Levi Fox for Troy School Board, and remember, vote Levi Fox for School Board November 2nd.
You have 1 minute for your closing statements.
I want to thank Leadership Troy again for this opportunity to speak, and as a member of the 2021 class, I would encourage everyone to take advantage of this amazing opportunity that is Leadership Troy. I am Susan Borchers, and I'm running for the Troy City School Board of Education. I am dedicated to the students and employee of Troy City Schools. I believe that my primary duty on the Board of Education is to represent and serve the Troy community. I have been told that I am approachable, always willing to listen, open to discussion, and value any viewpoint. Please feel free to reach out to me at any time. As a board member, we are often called upon to make difficult decisions. I do my best to make decisions based on facts and not emotions. I am not afraid to speak up when I feel our citizens are not being represented. Our job is to keep our students and employees safe and provide the best educational environment. We need to constantly challenge ourselves to be creative and innovative towards that goal. You are the citizens of Troy. Please come to the board meetings and be heard. I am Susan Borchers and would appreciate your vote in November. Thank you.
Closing statements, you have 1 minute.
Sure, thank you. I've been asked why I've decided to run, and my answer is that I want to serve my district and students, including my own children, and our community. I want to do the work of keeping and building a strong district that also keeps and builds a strong community, a district that puts its students first and helps to prepare them for success after school, college, trade, or the military. I believe our community is strong and wants to support our district. As board members, we need to work with the community on our priorities and advocate for our students and families. Right now, one of our district's priorities should be the new facilities. This is where we should put our energy. We need to have a shared vision that benefits our students, families, and communities in the short and long term. Go Trojans.
Well, I again like to thank the Leadership Troy alumni for hosting this tonight. School boards is a position that has a lot of responsibility. You need to work together, and I think we've had a good working board these last 4 years. I think there are some things we would like to address if I'm elected to another term, new buildings, continuing to keep an eye on the fiscal numbers, and to deal with the pandemic and the mask issue. You know, just because there's a mask policy today doesn't mean it's in place for the long term. We're going to continue to evaluate it. We're going to look for ways to keep our students in school and make it as comfortable as possible. So the next 4 years are going to be challenging, and I just welcome the opportunity to serve another 4 years on the school board.
On the Troy ballot in November, the Downtown Outdoor Refreshment Area, or known as DORA referendum, allowing alcoholic beverages on the downtown sidewalks. A yes vote would mean that you support the referendum, and the no vote would mean that you do not support the referendum. Earlier in 2021, the Troy City Council passed an ordinance creating DORA. It's a designated section of the City of Troy during special business hours that will allow alcoholic beverages in those specific plastic cups to be carried from establishment to establishment by the patrons. A group of citizens signed a petition to place this issue on the November ballot. Countywide, there is a tax renewal that will also be on the ballot in Troy. A yes vote means that you support the tax levy. A no vote means that you do not support the tax levy. The purpose of this levy is to provide support for counseling and support services for people through the operation of alcohol and drug addiction and mental health programs. Now, a few things to remember. Early in-person voting begins on October the 5th at the Miami County Board of Elections in the courthouse in downtown Troy. The election day is Tuesday, November the 2nd. You vote in the precincts, and they're open from 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. On behalf of the candidates and the issues, it is your obligation, so please exercise your right to vote. For the Troy Area Chamber of Commerce and Leadership Troy alumni, I'm Steve Baker from the Leadership Class of 1984, thanking you for watching.